Hi, welcome to the Unilock Pedestal overview. New for 2021, we're bringing in a completely new system that has multiple pedestal sizes as well as additional features. Well, let's take a quick look at some of these. So there's three different systems here. The first one is going to be what we call our P-Series. So this is a small adjustable pedestal that's going to range from about 7/8 of an inch up to 1 1/4 inches or so. And it just clicks and adjusts very smooth and easily for some of those small light-duty residential applications. Then we have our T-Series. Now the T-Series, again, is more for residential applications, although you could use this commercially. And this is kind of a two-part system. It has a base and then the head that sits in here. And you easily can screw this up and down in terms of your heights by adjusting this. And really this is kind of can be used commercially if you need something in between the small P-Series and then the next series in our line, which is the M-Series. So this is really the commercial grade type pedestal application, and there's the three sizes, which is nice. I'm showing them here on the table at their lowest elevation and their highest elevation for the three different sizes here. Now this tall one actually has a extension coupler in here. This adds about 8 inches, and we'll show you that here in a little bit. So let's look at some of the key features. So for the commercial M-Series is the one I'm going to focus on. These are going to range from about 1 3/4 here all the way up to 39 inches if you use 3 of the couplers. So otherwise the height for the M3 goes up to about 13.5 inches. Now the M-Series will support a load of at least 1250 with a factor of safety of 3. The max load is about 3747. Now there are a couple different slope compensators ranging from about 0 to 8%. There's the base slope compensator here. So this is will snap onto the bottom of the M-Series, and by spinning the dial you can adjust the slope compensation. So let me show you how that works here with this pedestal base over here. So again, you can set this in place, spin this up so that if the tabs are at the same side, on the same side, you're going to be at the maximum 8% slope. There's a spacer tab that will lock onto the top of the pedestal. So these again will just snap into place here, and that's going to give you the proper joint width for your slab spacing. These are all made out of recycled polypropylene, and they're going to be resistant to mold and algae. So you don't have to worry about these weathering over time and deteriorating. Now let's break down this pedestal a little bit more here, because there's some additional features to take a look at. So we're looking at this giant pedestal here. You have your spacer tab at the top. There's also a rubber shim that can go on this. So the rubber shim will fit on top of here. That's going to help dampen the sound, as well as you can actually fold these if you need to help shim up a pedestal that maybe is a little bit thinner in an area. Just depends. We also have a top slope self-leveling head, so you can snap that onto the pedestal, and then if there's any kind of minor slope to the roof line, these will automatically adjust for that, which is really nice. Makes a quick, easy installation using the self-leveling head. Then we have, with the M-Series, there's two parts to this. There's the larger crank size here, and then there's a smaller inside crank here. So if you spin the inside crank clockwise, it's going to go down. If you spin it counterclockwise, it's going to extend that. And it's just the opposite for the inner crank. If you spin this clockwise, it's going to go up. If you spin this counterclockwise, it's going to go back down. And we'll show you more on that a little bit later. And then to do the extension coupler very easily, you have this hollow tube here, and you just take this and you just screw this into place. Very quick and easy. And then you'll put the top part in here and screw that back down into place. So this works very quick and easy to put this together and add those extension couplers to it. So let me just reiterate some of these key components. There's the self-leveling head. Again, this will range from 0 to 6% for that slope compensation. The base slope compensator is going to go from 0 to 8% by just sliding these dials around. Then you also have a really neat key component here, which is this key adjustment. So basically you're going to put this into the pedestal while there's slabs on top of it, and you can turn this to help crank it up or back down, depending on what you need to do to raise or lower those pedestals. Then again, I mentioned the coupler already for that. Again, it adds about 7 7/8 inches. You can do 3 of those to max that out at the 39-inch height. Now, one of the other key features that you have here is a Kerf lockdown system. So you can actually put a spacer in here, a molly into the top of this, and drill a screw in here, and it's going to resist that wind uplift, and you'll lock it down with a washer there and hold those slabs into place. And then if we kind of go through the different advantages of why you want to use Unilock pedestal systems, you know, we have very competitive pricing. We would argue that they're less expensive than other commercial grade type pedestal applications, and that does come with that spacer tab included with the pedestal, so there's no additional cost for that spacer tab there. And then you do have the height adjustment with using the key. You have the self-leveling head, which is really nice feature, and the bottom slope base corrector. Now, the self-leveling head and the base slope corrector, those are accessories, and there are additional costs for those. Now, for the 3 units, they're going to range from about 2 inches to that 13-inch range, which is a good range for just using 3 pedestals. We'll show you an example here how that compares to our competition. There is a lockdown that's available, which is not available with every system that's out there. We do have the drill driver, and we're going to show you a demo on that here in a little bit. But this will fit into the top of the pedestal, and you can screw that up and down using the drill driver. And this just fits into the top of the pedestal, and you can screw that up and down. We'll show you a little demonstration of that here in a minute. I'm not qualified to do that. There is a full line of additional accessories, so there's wall spacers, there's additional shims that you can to get, as well as a few other things that are out there. So different spacer tabs, different spacer widths, things like that. So why use Unilock pedestals? Well, first of all, there's less legwork because you only have to go to one supplier for the slabs and the pedestal. So you can call us, we can help coordinate how many pedestals you need, as well as any kind of submittals, any kind of layout drawings, things like that. We can help with that kind of legwork. There's less components because you only have the 3 for the commercial grade. You're going to look at ordering less boxes that go to the job site. Again, they include that spacer tab. Now, there are some really key features for speed of installation. Again, we'll show you the drill driver, the self-leveling head in a demo, as well as the top pedestal adjustment. So we'll kind of come back to those here in a few minutes. And then again, don't underestimate that slope compensation for the base and the top. Again, those are key features. Now, one of the questions that I get a lot with the slope compensator is, well, why don't you use the bottom slope corrector on every project? Well, they do cost more than the self-leveling head, and they're a little bit, these are a little bit easier to use. So if you're going to 0 to 6%, this is going to work a lot easier. And the thing to keep in mind, as long as the pedestal weight, the majority of the weight is over the base, you don't have to worry about these tipping over. So the self-leveling head will be a lot easier to deal with. You won't have to manually adjust those. Now, if you're going to get really steep and there's going to be a very tall pedestal, you do want these to be as plumb as possible so that you don't let that center of gravity go further beyond the base so they tip over. But for most projects that have 1/4 inch per foot slope on a roof line, the top self-leveling head is perfect for those applications. We do have that wind uplift resistance, so again, those are all things that can be built into this pedestal, and then, as I mentioned, the full line of accessories. So keep that in mind. Now, as I mentioned, there's a nice range of pedestals here, going from, you know, that 1 3/4 inches up to about 39 inches or so if you include the base, and the self-leveling head will add about 3/4 of an inch, so you can get that up to almost 39 inches. But what makes this system really nice is that, again, you only need the 3 pedestals from about 2 inches all the way up to the 13-inch range, whereas a lot of our competitions, competitors, you'll need, either 4 or 5 pedestals for that. So this competitor has one that ranges from about 1.75 inches only up to about 11 inches with 5 pedestals. Again, we get to just under about 1.75 inches up to 13.5 with the 3 pedestals. So that can be a huge savings in terms of what materials you need for a project. Now we'll do some demonstrations here. We'll first look at the drill driver. We'll talk about the self-leveling head, and then we'll use the key to show you that top pedestal adjustment, which is really nice, a nice feature. Right now we're going to do a little demonstration using the drill driver attachment. This goes on to a cordless power drill, and this will fit into the top of this pedestal here to help speed up cranking these up and down. Okay, now we're going to do a quick demonstration on the self-leveling head. What makes this nice is this will adapt to any kind of grade changes up to about 5 or 6%. And it's just because the base will move underneath the head's going to stay level. So if we take a look at an example here, now we have a flat surface, so we're trying to replicate what it'd be like on a roof where you have maybe 1/4 inch per foot slope. So this goes up about 3/8 of an inch on the high side. And if we go over here and put our level on this, you can see that this is essentially level. And again, we don't have any weight on the back side of this, so this is kind of trying to tilt itself up. It makes it a lot easier and quicker for installations when the head will self-adjust. All right, now we're going to talk about the top adjustment key here and how this works. So we've done a little cutaways so you can better see how this tool will work when you put it down in between the units. Now the beauty of this product is you don't have to take any slabs out. You can adjust it through the slabs. Now, as you finish up your job, you may walk around and you notice a few slabs that start to rock a little bit. So with this tool, you can slide it down in between the units, fit it in there, and you can crank this so that it moves up, locks into place, pull this back out, and essentially you won't have any rocking. So you may find some that are high or low, so as you move your level around to check the grades, you can make sure that these are at the right elevation just by sliding this down through the units. Again, you don't have to remove them, and cranking these up or down depending on which direction you need to go. Top adjustment key. All right, now let's talk about installation labor comparison. So in this example, we're looking at a 2,400 square foot roof deck, which is, pretty average size for your mid-level type walk-up buildings. And for a 2,400 square foot roof deck with using a 24 by 24 slab paver on a stack bond, you're going to need about 600 pedestals. So if we look at the labor savings compared to other brands, first of all, you got to think about the pedestal sorting. There's less time involved to sort them because you only have the 3 sizes up there for those roof deck applications compared to the 4 or 5. So it might mean less boxes on a job site. You can use that drill driver to help speed up installation. So we figure 600 units and we have to adjust them a few inches. If you're 20 seconds faster per unit, that's going to save you about 3 man-hours of labor on a job site. So that 3 hours could be as much as $450 for a 2,400 square foot roof deck. And if we incorporate the self-leveling head, again, there might be additional savings of 10 seconds faster. I know it doesn't seem like much versus spinning a dial to get to the slope you want. You don't have to do that. You just can set the slab right on top and it's going to self-adjust for that. So if we figure that 10 seconds faster, you're going to save an extra $225 per system. And then the last thing is that top adjustment. So if you do have to go back and adjust any pedestals, you don't have to remove that slab. You can do it with the key by putting it down through the units and then quickly adjusting that. And we'll show you how that works here in a second. But if you only remove 1/3 of the units and you're thinking about 3 minutes faster, pick one up, adjust it, put the slab back, that could result in as much as $1,500 of savings by not having to do that. So when you combine all these together, you're looking at a labor savings of about $2,100, $2,200 for that 2,400 square foot roof deck area. Now, if we combine that with the installation material comparison and looking at some of the competitors out there, again, we're figuring 600 pedestals and a Unilock price is just under $7,000, and our nearest competitor might be close to $8,000. You're looking at about a $982 savings compared to that first competitor. So if you combine the labor and material savings, over $3,000 just in savings on a 2,400 square foot roof deck application. Now there might be some competitors out there that are a little bit less expensive, so you might be looking at something that saves you about $772 for those 600 pedestals. Again, adding the two together, you're saving just under $3,000 for that. But when you start to look at the scalable size of that, you're looking at about $1.23 to $1.32 per square foot of savings for just a 2,400 square foot roof deck. So we scale that up to a 10,000 square foot roof deck, you might be saving $12,000 or $13,000 for that. So you can save a lot of money. That might be the difference between getting a job and not getting a job. So keep that in mind. It's a great savings. And we've worked on several jobs that are well above 10,000 square feet. And this would be something that contractors would want to use to save them money on the job. Thank you.